Hi guys, I have a great Christmas or just anytime gift idea for you today. I have been looking for something inexpensive but easy that I could make to have on hand for little gifts to give in like a basket of bread or whatever. I found these jars that are actually salt grinders or pepper grinders, whatever you want to put in them. But they were $6 for two on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box. If you buy grinders like at the store that already have the salt and pepper and stuff in them, usually you can't refill those. These have a screw-on lid so that you can refill them, and it has a grinder. You can even set the size of the grind. So I thought this was really cool, and what I want to do is put some flavored salts in here. So I found these Morton sea salt grinder refills. So today I was watching on Carolyn at Homestead Family, and she was making herbed salt by just layering the herb and the salt. But she was using a regular sea salt, and I don't want to do that. I considered doing some regular sea salt and then adding this in later, but this is such a big piece of salt that I want this to be flavored. So let me show you what I decided I'm going to do. So the two herbs I'm going to use today are rosemary and basil. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just put a layer of salt in the bottom of each of these jars. Now you can see this is pretty big salt. It's more like what you would put out to stop ice and get it all melted. Then I'm going to take my herb. So this is my basil, and I'm going to just lay it in here. Now Carolyn laid one layer. I am going to kind of double up my layers because I have such thick salt. And then she added more, just a thin layer. Let me grab another stalk here. And just go ahead and layer it in again. And more salt. And more basil. So I think you get the idea. So I'm going to stop with this one here, and we're going to start with the rosemary. Kind of see the side view of this here. Now the rosemary is different because it's long and woody, so I'm going to cut it up into pieces that kind of fit in the jar. Now this has a lot of resin and flavoring to it. Put some more salt on. And get another stem. I'm really anxious to see how this one tastes. I've had basil salt before, but I've not had rosemary salt, so I'm really excited about that. Okay. Now, obviously, this amount of salt is not going to fill that salt shaker or salt grinder, but it's going to give them some, and I think it's okay if it's not totally full. I think they'll appreciate what they get. You could put it in a pint-sized jar, which I considered doing, but I didn't know if I had enough salt. I might do the half-pint jar and then see how it does, and then make a pint jar full. All right, now when you're doing this, you want your herbs to be totally dry. You want your jar to be dry. You want your lid to be dry. You don't want any moisture anywhere, or you're going to melt your salt and you're going to end up with molding on your herbs. I'm just going to kind of fill in there, kind of shake it in. Okay, now the next step is to put a lid on it. Let me show you how this looks from the side. And actually, I'm going to try one more time, put a little bit more salt in there, and just kind of shake it all in there. Okay. And I've got room on top, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more of the rosemary. Okay, fill it up. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to label this. So this is rosemary, salt. And you are going to want to leave this sitting for 6 weeks. So that is going to be October 17th. And at that point, I should be able to open this up and take the herbs out and leave the salt. And the salt might even absorb some of this color, which is fine. But it should taste like rosemary. So we'll see how it turns out. Our salts have set long enough now that it's time to put them in a salt shaker. First, I wanted to show you that my focaccia bread came out of the oven. So I'm going to let it cool so that we can incorporate our salt into a gift with the bread. So I'm going to use these to put my gifts in, along with some bread or something else that would complement the gift. This one is going to be the rosemary salt, and it is going to go with the rosemary focaccia bread. So I'm going to unscrew this, and I have a funnel that has a pretty good sized hole because, like I said, this is a coarse salt. Now, I don't know how much of this it will hold. It does have some pieces of rosemary in it. I'm going to set those aside for now as I come to them. I want to kind of chop them up and go ahead and incorporate them in with the salt. I think that would be great. I can definitely smell that this salt smells like rosemary. Now, I haven't tasted it, so I'm not sure how it's going to taste. I'm just going to take out the layers of rosemary. Now, I will not use all of this rosemary. I'm going to go ahead and chop up some of this rosemary before I put more salt in there. Now, it is still on its stems, so I'm going to pull it off of the stems. This doesn't have to be real small because I believe it will grind along with the salt. Okay, we're just going to stop there. And we're going to put it in our container. We just want enough that it adds some color to it. Kind of shake it up in there. And add the rest of the salt. Okay, there we go. So we got this full, and we can put our lid back on, and then we can put our label on. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I would put this together as a gift. Of course, this itself is a very nice gift. You could even tie a ribbon around it and just give that by itself. But I just thought it'd be fun to add some other things to it. So I'm going to take half of this and set it aside on the pan. And I have these, they're really cookie bags. And they're about the right size to slide these down in here. So I'm going to slice these. I'm going to cut this up. And they don't even have to be like totally even. This is the reality of making videos. I have had this focaccia sitting here for about 3 hours because I thought I was going to get this video done, but the kids just went to bed. So I'm having a little trouble cutting it. No worries. I'm going to make like breadsticks with it. So I'm just going to stick them all in this bag. And there, how cute is that? Let me get this dirty board out of the way. And you can even take this and just some jute and tie it up. And fan it out. And there you go. Of course, you wouldn't want to leave this exposed for a long period of time. So if you weren't going to give it to someone right away, you might want to slip that into a Ziploc bag until you're ready to go. And then we'll just kind of do the same thing on our jar. There we go. So here's our gift. And we can just slide it down into a brown paper bag. I just folded the edges down of this, and there we go. So if you wanted to put some tissue paper in it, you could do that. Or you could even like punch holes in it here and put some of this through it. Okay. Now we will put the string through and through behind. This is a real fine jute that I just got at the Dollar Tree store. Now this does not have to be like a Christmas present. This could be for any time. Birthday, or just welcome to the neighborhood, or whatever. And there you go. You could put a little tag on here. You could write on the bag. I like writing on the bag. You could write, welcome to the neighborhood, or happy birthday, or Merry Christmas, whatever it is. So there's one. That is our rosemary. So we're gonna do pretty much the same thing. Because the basil leaves are soft, I would be afraid to put them in this grinder because I don't want the leaves to get caught in the grinder. So we'll probably take all of these out the best we can. So we're gonna open our jar just like we did before. Put the funnel in, pick out these leaves, try to get the salt off the best we can. We don't want to waste that. Of course, you know that salt that's been laying on those basil leaves have the most flavor, so you want to try to keep them. Okay, I think that's all the leaves. I didn't know how well these 1 cup jars were going to fill up the shakers, but I would say they work pretty well. There's a little bit of room left, but I think that's plenty. For its label, I just used this roll of canning labels. I bought them on Amazon. I'll leave a link if you're interested. Just gonna put that on there. Now, I'm gonna throw out some paper here. And if your paper rolls up like that, just turn it over and that'll work. Now for this gift, we're gonna use our sourdough bread that we made. Turned out pretty nice. We're going to just kind of wrap it up in this brown paper, because as long as you don't cut this, it'll stay pretty fresh. So we're gonna do that. And then I'm gonna lay it upside down for a second to hold that all together. And we're gonna put some twine out, and I'm gonna set the bread on it. And then I'm going to tie it. Try to get it over that lap of the paper to hold it down. Just do a bow for now. Now we're gonna take our other piece and we're gonna wrap it up. Now, you guys, you don't have to make this bread. There are plenty of places that sell sourdough bread. So just find a place you like, buy some, and wrap it up. And it still is a great homemade gift because you have made the salt for it. Okay, I'm just kind of tying that one in a knot in the middle. And there you go. And it's okay if you can kind of see down in there. That's no problem. We're gonna set that aside. Now, when I think of basil salt, it makes me think of tomatoes and cheese. So I just happen to have this homemade mozzarella cheese that I sliced up, and you can just, again, make a little pouch. We used to live in England a long time ago, and we would go buy cheese and meats and stuff, and they would wrap them in paper, tie a little string around them like a butcher string, and I loved that. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're just gonna keep it very simple. Of course, you could go all out. You could buy a special little plastic container that's decorative for whatever season you're doing this in, but I just prefer very simple. And we're just gonna do one, but we're going to wrap it around twice. I need to even it up a little bit. All right. Now, another thing that can be bought at the store, but I just happen to have some that I made, are some, I'm gonna say sun-dried. These were dehydrated in the dehydrator, but dehydrated somehow, cherry tomatoes with some Italian spices in there and some bay leaf and in some oil, in some olive oil. So the oil could be used to dip the bread in. The tomatoes and the cheese could go on the bread. And if they wanted to add some basil salt to it, they could. So again, just to keep this all the same, I am going to just tie a knot of string here. It doesn't always have to be a bow, and I'll put one on here. And if you wanted to, if your string was big enough, see if I can do mine, you could kind of fray it a little bit. That looks cute too. You just decide. Now in this case, again, I made these 3 extra items, but this could be given with even just some tomatoes and store-bought mozzarella cheese. Maybe the little round, soft mozzarella would be good. You could just give a loaf of bread. You could just give this. It doesn't matter. The thing is, it's a gift. And this is something that you made. For this one, I'm just gonna use a store-bought bag. And it's not a Christmas bag. We're gonna play like somebody is having a housewarming. So we're going to put our bread in, and then we're going to put our cheese in. Now, of course, if it's something that it's gonna be a while, you might want to refrigerate that cheese until it's time to go, and then put our basil salt in. And there you go. Thanks so much for coming along today. I hope you enjoy these gifts. And the best part is that the salt is so easy to make. Of course, you have to take time to let it sit. You could use any herbs or mixture of herbs that you'd like. I'm gonna start some tomorrow so that I can have some ready for Christmas. Thank you for choosing to follow our channel. We are so blessed to have you. Until next time, blessings on you and yours.